The morning sun rose over New York City like any other day. People walked to work, children went to school, and life moved forward in its usual rhythm. No one knew that high above Earth's atmosphere, humanity's worst nightmare was about to begin. Commander James Ross stood in NATO's main control room in Brussels, sipping his third cup of coffee. The large screens in front of him showed normal air traffic patterns across the globe. 20 years in the military had taught him to enjoy quiet moments like these, but the peace wouldn't last long. "Sir," multiple objects entering Earth's atmosphere. The young radar operator's voice cracked with panic. They're massive." Ross dropped his coffee cup. The white ceramic shattered on the floor as he rushed to the main screen. Dozens of red dots appeared, moving faster than any known aircraft. Each dot was the size of a small city. "Get me direct lines to Washington, Moscow, and Beijing. Now." Ross barked the order. Before anyone could respond, the first images started coming in. They were ships. Massive dark vessels that blocked out the sun as they descended through the clouds. Their surfaces gleamed with a metallic purple sheen that no Earth material could match. The largest one was 3 miles long, dwarfing everything below it. "All stations, this is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill." Ross's voice remained steady despite his racing heart. "Launch all available aircraft. Get our missile defense systems online." The world's response was quick but useless. F-35 fighters looked like flies next to the alien ships. Surface-to-air missiles exploded harmlessly against their shields. The Dominion, as they would later be known, had arrived to add Earth to their growing empire. The first beam of energy struck downtown Shanghai. In seconds, 50 buildings collapsed into dust. Tokyo was next, then Moscow. The aliens weren't trying to destroy everything. They were showing their power, demanding surrender. Inside the NATO bunker, Ross watched the casualty reports flood in. 10,000 dead in the first minute. 50,000 in the first 5 minutes. The numbers kept climbing. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission," the communications officer said. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies, in every language." A deep artificial voice filled the room. "People of Earth, we are the Dominion. Your planet is now under our protection. Resist, and we will be forced to demonstrate our full power. Submit, and you will serve a greater purpose in our empire." Ross clenched his fists. 20 years of military service had prepared him for war, but not like this. Earth's most advanced weapons seemed like toys against these ships. "Get me the president," Ross ordered. "And contact Dr. Miller at Area 51. Tell her it's time to open the vault." The next hour brought more destruction. London's financial district turned to ash. The Golden Gate Bridge melted like butter. Rio de Janeiro's Christ, the Redeemer statue, toppled into the sea. But the aliens were being careful, strategic. They weren't destroying everything, just enough to break humanity's will to fight. But they had made a crucial mistake. They expected surrender. They expected fear. Instead, in bunkers and secret facilities around the world, military leaders like Ross were preparing humanity's response. "Sir," his aide rushed in with a tablet. Dr. Miller sent these readings. "The alien shields, they're not invincible. There's a pattern to their energy frequency." Ross studied the data. For the first time since the invasion began, a small smile crossed his face. "Send this to every major military command, and get me access to Project Thunder. It's time to show these aliens what humanity's been hiding." As night fell over a changed Earth, the Dominion ships hung in the sky like new constellation. They thought they had won. They thought Earth was just another primitive world to add to their collection. They were wrong. In thousands of hidden bunkers, behind blast doors and security systems, humanity's real weapons waited. The Dominion would soon learn why humans were the most paranoid, over-prepared species in the galaxy. The real war was about to begin. Deep under the Nevada desert, Dr. Alice Miller walked through a metal hallway that officially didn't exist. Her footsteps echoed off walls that hadn't seen daylight in 30 years. Behind her, Commander Ross struggled to keep up. "When they built this place in 1969, she said, typing a code into a massive door, everyone thought we were just watching for Soviet missiles. The truth was much bigger." The door opened with a hiss. Lights flickered on automatically, revealing a massive underground chamber. Ross's jaw dropped. Rows of strange machines lined the walls. Some hummed with power, others sat silent, covered in dust. "Welcome to humanity's insurance policy," Miller said, her eyes bright with pride. "Every major nation has a place like this. We've been preparing for this day for over 50 years. Above them, the Dominion ships continued their attack on Earth's cities, but they hadn't found these bunkers. They hadn't even looked for them." "What exactly am I looking at, Doctor?" Ross asked, staring at a device that looked like a cross between a satellite dish and a Tesla coil. "This is Project Echo." Miller patted the machine. "It creates electromagnetic pulses that can match any frequency, including, as we just learned, the exact frequency of alien shield technology." Ross's radio crackled. A voice spoke in Russian, then Chinese, then English. More hidden facilities were coming online. More secret weapons were being revealed. "The Russians have quantum torpedoes that can phase through solid matter," Miller explained, checking her tablet. "The Chinese developed plasma cannons that can melt through any known material. And this," she walked to a larger machine, "this is America's gravity disruptor." "How did we build all this?" Ross wondered aloud. "Every war taught us something new. World War II gave us rockets. The Cold War gave us computers. The War on Terror gave us drones." Miller's voice was firm. "But we weren't just fighting each other. We were practicing, preparing. Every weapon we built was a prototype for today." Suddenly, the ground shook. A Dominion ship was passing overhead. "Time's running out," Ross said. "Can these weapons hurt them?" Miller smiled. "Hurt them? Commander, we're going to shock them. They think they're facing cavemen with sticks. They don't know we've spent centuries building weapons specifically to fight them." Her phone beeped. Messages from other facilities poured in. Brazil's hidden base under the Amazon was active. Japan's underwater weapon platforms were ready. India's mountain fortresses were opening their doors. "Get me connected to NATO Command," Miller ordered. "It's time to coordinate our first strike." The next hour was a blur of activity. Scientists in hazmat suits powered up machines that had waited decades for this moment. Military officers coordinated with bases around the world. Everyone had a role. Everyone had prepared for this. "First test ready," Miller announced. She pointed to a screen showing a Dominion ship over Mexico City, firing Russian quantum torpedo in 3, 2, 1. The weapon made no sound when it launched. On the screen, nothing seemed to happen for several seconds. Then suddenly, a small explosion appeared inside the alien ship. The torpedo had passed straight through their shield and hull. The alien ship tilted, surprised by the attack. Before it could respond, a Chinese plasma beam struck it from below. The combined attack was too much. The massive ship, 3 miles of advanced alien technology, split in half and fell from the sky. "Direct hit," someone cheered. But Miller and Ross stayed serious. This was just the beginning. "Send the data to all commands," Ross ordered. "Show them exactly how we did that. And power up the gravity disruptor. Let's show these aliens what happens when they pick a fight with humanity." In space, the Dominion commanders received urgent messages. Something was wrong. The primitive humans were fighting back with impossible weapons. For the first time in their 1,000-year conquest of the galaxy, the Dominion felt something new. They felt fear. The real battle for Earth was about to begin, and humanity's hidden arsenal was just warming up. Tom Baker walked through the dark tunnel under the Rocky Mountains, his flashlight beam showing the way. The retired engineer had never expected to return to this place. Behind him, 3 soldiers carried portable power units, their boots echoing in the darkness. "This was my home for 15 years, Tom said, his old hands running along the dusty walls. Project Thunderstorm. The military thought we were crazy back then, building weapons to fight enemies that didn't exist. They reached a massive steel door, its surface covered in warning signs. Tom's hand shook as he entered the code he had memorized decades ago. To his surprise, the old keypad still worked. "Welcome to humanity's biggest secret," he said as the door opened. The lights came on automatically, revealing a cave larger than a football stadium. Rows of silver towers reached toward the ceiling, each one humming with stored power. Between them stood machines that looked like they belonged in science fiction movies. "Sir," one of the soldiers whispered, "what are we looking at?" "Weather control," Tom smiled. "But not the kind you're thinking of. These machines don't make rain or snow. They make storms. Electrical storms powerful enough to fry any electronic device in orbit." At that moment, Tom's radio crackled. Dr. Miller's voice came through. "Tom, please tell me Project Thunderstorm is still operational." "It's all here, Alice," he replied. "Dusty but intact. How are things up there?" "The quantum torpedoes and plasma cannons hurt them, but the Dominion is adapting. We need everything we've got. How fast can you be ready?" Tom looked at the machines around him. "Give me 3 hours." While Tom and his team worked, similar scenes played out in hidden facilities around the world. In the Australian outback, an underground base opened its doors for the first time in 30 years. Under the Sahara Desert, African engineers powered up sonic wave generators that could shake apart ships in the sky. Each facility had its own weapons. Each one represented decades of secret work, billions in hidden funding, and thousands of people keeping the biggest secret in human history. The Dominion ships still hung in the sky, but they had stopped attacking. The loss of their ship over Mexico City had made them cautious. They were scanning the planet, looking for the source of the weapons that had hurt them. But they were looking in the wrong places. "Power systems at 80%, one of the soldiers reported. Tom nodded, his hands flying over the control panel. The machines around them hummed louder. "Sir," another soldier pointed at their radar screen. 3 Dominion ships moving into position above us. They must have detected our power signature. Tom smiled. "Good. Let them come. Dr. Miller, are you seeing this?" "Affirmative," her voice came through the radio. "All facilities report ready. Chinese plasma cannons locked on target. Russian quantum torpedoes loaded. Indian gravity wells powered up. Just waiting for your lightning, Tom." The old engineer looked at the screens showing the alien ships above. They were probably scanning the mountain, trying to figure out what was hiding underneath. They were about to find out. Project Thunderstorm launching in 3, 2, 1. The machines roared to life. Above the mountain, the clear sky suddenly turned dark. Clouds formed from nowhere, swirling into a massive storm system. The Dominion ships, caught by surprise, tried to move away. "Now," Tom shouted. Lightning exploded from the clouds, but this wasn't natural lightning. These were concentrated beams of electrical energy, each one carrying more power than a nuclear plant. They struck the alien ships with perfect accuracy, overloading their shields and frying their systems. At the same moment, weapons launched from hidden bases around the world. Quantum torpedoes phased through the disabled ships' hulls. Plasma beams melted through their armor. Gravity wells tore them apart. 3 more Dominion ships fell from the sky. On screens around the world, military commanders watched in satisfaction. This was what humanity had been preparing for. This was why they had spent decades building weapons in secret. The Dominion was about to learn a hard lesson. Never underestimate human paranoia. Commander Ross stood in the new Global Command Center, deep under the Swiss Alps. Around him, screens showed real-time battles happening around the world. The room buzzed with activity as military officers from every major nation worked together. "Orbital defense platforms coming online," announced a young officer. All satellites in position. Ross smiled. The Dominion hadn't even noticed that half of Earth's communication satellites were actually weapon platforms. They had been up there for decades, disguised as normal satellites, waiting for this moment. "Status report," he called out. "Russian quantum torpedoes have destroyed 12 enemy ships," came one response. "Chinese plasma cannons have disabled 8 more," said another. "Project Thunderstorm has fried their electronics over 3 continents," a third voice added. But the Dominion wasn't finished. Their remaining ships had changed formation, adapting to Earth's weapons. They were learning, evolving their tactics. A new wave of alien fighters descended through the atmosphere. "Multiple bogies incoming," someone shouted. "They're targeting our surface installations." Ross grabbed his radio. "Dr. Miller, are you seeing this?" "Already on it," she replied from her facility in Nevada. "Activating defense pattern Delta. Watch this." Suddenly, objects that looked like regular construction cranes in cities worldwide began to move. Their arms split open, revealing energy weapons hidden inside. Radio towers transformed into missile launchers. Wind turbines opened up to show anti-aircraft guns. "Weapons we hid in plain sight," Miller explained. "They've been part of our cities for years. The Dominion's been flying right past them." The alien fighters swooped down toward New York City, expecting an easy target. Instead, they flew into a storm of defensive fire. Construction cranes shot energy beams that matched their shield frequency. Radio towers launched smart missiles that followed them through their evasive maneuvers. Direct hits. The room erupted in cheers as fighter after fighter exploded. "Sir," a technician called out, detecting massive energy buildup from the Dominion fleet. "They're preparing something big." Ross turned to his main screen. The remaining Dominion ships had gathered together, forming a circle in high orbit. Energy crackled between them. "They're desperate." Miller's voice came through. "This is the perfect time. Should we show them our final surprise?" Ross nodded. "Do it." Miller sent the activation code. In orbit, hundreds of dead satellites suddenly came to life. They had been launched as space junk, appearing inactive to any scans. Now they revealed their true purpose. "Orbital defense grid active," Miller reported. "All units charging." The Dominion ships continued charging their weapon, unaware of the trap they had just floated into. The satellites moved into position, surrounding the alien fleet in a perfect sphere. "They thought they could just float up there safely," Ross said quietly. "They never imagined we'd already built defenses in space." "Grid at full power," Miller announced. "Firing in 3, 2, 1. The satellites fired simultaneously. Beams of energy connected them like a web, catching the Dominion fleet in a cage of pure power. Their shields flickered and failed. Their hulls began to crack. "All Earth forces, fire at will," Ross commanded. Every weapon humanity had revealed came into play at once. Quantum torpedoes phased through their disabled ships. Plasma beams melted their hulls. Lightning storms from Project Thunderstorm fried their backup systems. Hidden city defenses fired upward in a constant stream. The Dominion's mighty fleet, which had conquered countless worlds, was being torn apart by the very primitives they had come to conquer. "Sir," someone reported, "we're detecting escape pods. They're retreating." The command center fell silent. After countless hours of battle, it seemed almost unreal. Humanity hadn't just survived, they had won. "Send to all commands," Ross ordered. "The Earth is secure, but stay alert. This might be just the first wave." As celebration erupted around him, Ross looked at the screen showing the burning wreckage of alien ships. The Dominion had made a fatal mistake. They had judged humanity by their public technology, never imagining what lurked beneath the surface. They had learned the hard way. Humanity's greatest weapon was its paranoid preparation for exactly this day. Colonel Maria Green floated in zero gravity, leading a team of 20 Space Marines toward the disabled Dominion ship. Their new spacesuits, hidden away for decades in underground bases, were designed specifically for boarding alien vessels. "Remember your training," she said through the radio. "We've practiced this for years in simulations. Now it's real." The massive alien ship hummed dead in space, its systems fried by Project Thunderstorm's lightning attack. It was one of the few Dominion vessels that hadn't exploded or retreated. The perfect target for humanity's first boarding action. "Cutting team in position," reported her second-in-command. They placed special devices on the hull, another secret weapon designed long ago for exactly this purpose. "Begin cutting," Maria ordered. The devices activated, creating a perfect circle in the alien metal. They had practiced this thousands of times on test materials that matched every known type of alien metal. The section of hull floated away, revealing the ship's dark interior. Maria's team moved in, their helmet lights illuminating the alien corridor. The artificial gravity was dead, making them float forward like underwater divers. "Command, this is Green," Maria reported. "We're inside. Beginning Phase 2. Back on Earth, Commander Ross and Dr. Miller watched through cameras mounted on the Marines' helmets. This mission was crucial. Humanity needed to understand Dominion technology to prepare for future attacks. "Life support readings normal," one Marine reported. "Air is breathable, but keeping suits sealed as planned." They moved deeper into the ship, following maps created from long-range scans. Everything was larger than human scale, built for the taller Dominion aliens. The corridors could have fit 3 humans standing on each other's shoulders. "Engine room ahead," Maria announced. "Standard formation." Suddenly, movement caught their attention. A group of Dominion crew members floated around a corner, wearing their own emergency suits. They were tall, gray-skinned beings with 4 arms each. This was humanity's first close look at their enemy. "Contact," Maria shouted. But her team was ready. The Marines fired their special weapons, not designed to kill, but to capture. Nets of energy wrapped around the alien crew members, stopping their movement. The Dominion troops tried to fight back, but in zero gravity, their size worked against them. "Targets secured," Maria reported. "Moving to engine room." The engine room was massive, filled with technology beyond human understanding. But that's why they had brought Dr. Miller's special scanning devices. "Beginning scan," Maria said, placing devices around the room. "Dr. Miller, are you receiving?" In her facility, Miller watched data pour across her screens. "Clear signal. Colonel, this is incredible. Their engine design." "Wait." She paused. "This can't be right." "What is it?" Ross asked, looking over her shoulder. "Their technology. Some of it is less advanced than ours," Miller said in disbelief. "Their weapons are powerful, yes, but crude. Their shields are strong but inflexible. They relied on brute force, never expecting to meet real resistance." Maria's team continued through the ship, capturing more crew and gathering data. Each scan revealed the same thing. The Dominion wasn't as advanced as they had appeared. They had just been bigger, with more resources from conquered worlds. "Bridge secured," Maria reported finally. "You need to see this, Command." Her helmet camera showed the bridge's main screen. It displayed the Dominion's battle plans and their growing panic. Messages showed their commanders couldn't understand how primitives were fighting back with such advanced weapons. "They never imagined we'd be ready for them," Ross said quietly. "All these years, they conquered unprepared worlds. They'd never met anyone who spent generations preparing for invasion." "Colonel," he spoke into the radio, "plant the beacons and prepare for extraction. Phase 2 is complete." As Maria's team placed special devices throughout the ship, Miller explained their purpose. "These will let us track their fleet movements. Next time they come, we'll be ready before they arrive." The mission was a success. Humanity had captured their first alien ship, taken their first prisoners, and learned their enemy's secrets. But more importantly, they had proven something. The Dominion wasn't invincible. They were just bullies who had never faced a prepared opponent. And humanity was very, very prepared. In the captured Dominion ship's database, Dr. Miller found something that changed everything. She stared at her screen in the underground facility, her hands shaking as she read the alien text. "Commander Ross," she called through the radio, "you need to see this right now." Within an hour, the world's military leaders gathered in the Swiss command center. The room was silent as Miller displayed the translated alien documents on the main screen. "The Dominion has conquered 57 civilizations," she explained. "But look at this pattern. Every world they attacked was peaceful. No hidden weapons, no secret bunkers, no underground armies." Ross leaned forward. "Are you saying we're the first civilization they found that was actually ready for them?" Miller said. "Look at this data. Most worlds they conquered didn't even have space travel. We're the first ones who prepared for war before we knew our enemy." The room burst into discussion. On the screens around them, humanity's hidden arsenal continued to fight. Construction cranes transformed into weapon platforms. Quantum torpedoes phased through alien shields. Lightning storms fried their electronics. "But how?" someone asked. "How did we know to prepare?" Miller changed the display to show Earth's military history. "We didn't know. We were just paranoid. Every time we fought each other, we imagined bigger enemies. World War II made us build bunkers. The Cold War made us hide weapons in plain sight. We kept preparing for worse threats. And now we know why," Ross added. "Every war taught us something new. Every conflict made us stronger. While the Dominion was bullying peaceful worlds, we were building weapons that could fight gods." The alien database revealed more. The Dominion's mighty fleet had never faced real resistance. Their ships were big and powerful, but their technology was simple. They had grown lazy, relying on size and fear to win their battles. "Look at this." Miller pointed to new data coming from the captured ship. "Their quantum drives, based on theories we cracked 30 years ago. Their shield technology. We have better prototypes in storage. They just never needed to improve because no one fought back." More revelations followed. The Dominion's empire was built on fear, not strength. They avoided worlds that showed signs of military advancement. They picked easy targets. Earth was supposed to be another easy victory. "This changes everything," Ross said. "Show them the weapons factory footage." Miller nodded and played a video recorded a week before the invasion. It showed massive underground facilities on every continent. Assembly lines building quantum torpedoes. Testing ranges for plasma cannons. Training grounds where soldiers practiced fighting in zero gravity. Humanity wasn't just lucky, Ross told the leaders. "We were right to be paranoid. Right to hide weapons in every city. Right to build secret bases under every mountain. We spent centuries preparing for a war we didn't know was coming." New reports kept coming in. The Dominion's retreat was becoming a rout. Their mighty ships, faced with weapons they didn't understand, were fleeing Earth's orbit. Some tried to surrender, their crews amazed by humanity's hidden strength. "They thought Earth was primitive because we didn't show our real technology," Miller explained. "All they saw were our public machines, our everyday devices. They never imagined what was hiding underneath." The room fell quiet as they realized the truth. Humanity's greatest weakness, its constant preparation for war, had become its greatest strength. While other worlds lived in peace, Earth had built the most advanced arsenal in known space. "Send this message to all commands," Ross ordered. "The truth is confirmed. We are not facing superior beings. We are facing bullies who have never met anyone willing to fight back. And humanity." He smiled. "Humanity has done nothing but prepare to fight back since the first human picked up a rock as a weapon." The Dominion had made a fatal mistake. They had judged Earth by what they could see. They never thought to look deeper, to check what lurked beneath the surface. They never imagined that humans had spent their entire history preparing for this exact moment. And now, they were paying the price for that mistake. The final battle for Earth began at dawn. The remaining Dominion ships, nearly 30 of their largest vessels, gathered for one last desperate attack. They hung in space like dark clouds, their weapons charged to full power. Commander Ross stood in the Global Command Center, looking at the tactical display. Around him, military leaders from every nation waited for his signal. The time for hiding was over. The time for humanity's full strength had come. All stations, he spoke clearly into the radio. Execute final protocol. Across Earth, something amazing happened. Mountains began to move. Entire hillsides slid away, revealing massive launching pads. Desert sands parted as huge doors opened underneath. The oceans bubbled as underwater bases activated. First wave launching, Dr. Miller announced from her station. Humanity's hidden fleet rose into the sky. Not just secret weapons this time, but entire warships. They had been built in pieces over decades, hidden in facilities around the world. Now they assembled in orbit, their black hulls reflecting starlight. How many ships did we build? Someone asked in amazement. 150, Miller answered proudly. One new ship completed every 4 months for the past 50 years. All hidden, all waiting for this day. The Dominion fleet detected the launching ships. Their commanders watched in horror as humanity's real military power revealed itself. The ships rising from Earth carried every weapon that had hurt them before. Quantum torpedoes, plasma cannons, gravity disruptors. But bigger, more powerful. All ships in position. Colonel Maria Green reported from the fleet's command ship, ready to show them what humans can really do. Ross nodded. All ships, attack formation Delta. Show them no mercy. The battle that followed would be remembered for centuries. Human ships, smaller but far more advanced, danced around the Dominion's crewed vessels. Quantum torpedoes phased through their shields in waves. Plasma beams cut their ships into pieces. They're trying to retreat, someone shouted as the Dominion ships began to turn. Not this time, Ross said firmly. Colonel Green, activate the gravity net. Hidden satellites around Earth powered up, creating a web of gravitational force. The Dominion ships found themselves trapped, unable to escape. Their massive size, once an advantage, now made them perfect targets. All weapons, fire at will, Green commanded. The sky lit up with energy beams, missiles, and exotic weapons the Dominion had never seen before. Their mighty fleet, which had conquered 57 worlds, was being torn apart by the very primitives they had come to enslave. Incoming transmission, Miller reported. They're surrendering. The command center fell silent. On the main screen, the Dominion's supreme commander appeared. The alien looked shocked, its gray face showing fear for the first time. How? The alien asked simply. How did you hide all this? Ross stepped forward. We hid it because we had to. Because humanity has always known that somewhere out there, someone would try to conquer us. We built weapons not because we knew you were coming, but because we were afraid of what might come. The surrender was quick. The remaining Dominion ships powered down their weapons. Earth's fleet surrounded them, escorting them to capture zones. But this wasn't the end of the story. 1 month later, Ross stood before the United Nations. The world had changed. Humanity was no longer alone, no longer hiding. We have received messages from 12 worlds enslaved by the Dominion, he announced. They ask for our help. They ask us to teach them to defend themselves. The vote was unanimous. Earth would become the defender of peaceful worlds. Humanity's hidden arsenal would protect those who couldn't protect themselves. We built these weapons to save ourselves, Ross told the assembly. Now we'll use them to save others. As he spoke, hundreds of ships launched from Earth, carrying soldiers and weapons to free the Dominion's former slaves. Humanity had emerged from hiding, revealed its true strength, and found its purpose among the stars. The age of hiding was over. The age of humanity's leadership had begun, and somewhere in the galaxy, other conquerors learned a valuable lesson. Never judge a species by what they show you. Sometimes, the most dangerous civilizations are the ones that look the most harmless, because sometimes they're just hiding their teeth until they need to bite.